What's up guys, hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Hazbin Hotel Season 2 and we're going to see if the season managed to redeem itself after what was a messy first season. So without wasting too much time on the intro, let's get into it. But before that, real quick, this video will contain spoilers, so if you don't want anything to be spoiled, go and watch the series and then come back and watch the video. Okay, bye! Okay, let's briefly go through the fact why I called Season 1 messy. Don't get me wrong, Season 1 isn't a horrible season. It's a nice 7 out of 10, but it had so much missed potential. While the music was definitely peak, the character arcs, the plot, the pacing were bad. They didn't make a lot of sense. They weren't well structured. They just could have done so much more, but they didn't, and that's why it didn't land. But I still had hopes for this new season, and now we're going to talk if Season 2 fixed all those problems or did it just make them worse. So firstly, I wanted to quickly go over the plot of Season 2. The story basically resumes right after Season 1 ended, with only a month having gone by. And in the first 2 episodes, we actually get to see what's happening in Hell and in Heaven. In Hell, Charlie is now running the new hotel. There are a lot of sinners actually there, but they think that they're there to kill angels, not to be redeemed. Vox uses this misconception of the hotel to toy with Charlie. However, she sits on the side of redemption, so many sinners just leave the hotel. Then we get a short insight into the V's plans, aka Vox's plan, who shares it with Velvet and Valentino. He wants them to unite Hell so that they can take over Heaven and basically become gods. Their attempt to realize this plan is basically their character arc for this season, and it's the majority of what they're going to be doing, sabotaging the hotel on their way. By the end of the first episode, Charlie is visited by Emily and she says that Penchas is in heaven, which is something that Charlie hasn't known by now. Then credits roll and we go to episode 2. This is Heaven's part and we actually see what's going on there. The story basically starts in court, where all of Heaven is freaked out because a sinner, aka Penchas, just entered Heaven and now he's redeemed. He is the only soul so far who has proved that redemption is real. However, nobody knows how this happened and why it happened until we meet a new character in the series, the Speaker of God. This is the only episode we see her in, unfortunately. But she talks with Penchas on what was his life on earth and what was his sin. Long story short, Penchas saves his soul by redeeming his sin in heaven. And Sarah finally sees that redemption is real and possible. We then get a montage of Emily trying to comfort Penchas because he's without his friends in heaven. Well, Sarah is basically having a breakdown because she doesn't know if she should protect Heaven or feel guilty about the fact that she killed so many human souls which could have been saved. However, we also meet Abel, who is one of Adam's sons, and as heritage goes, he inherits Adam's place as the leader of the Exorcist army. Of course, because of all of this, Lute is pissed and she has a great moment, truly letting us witness her headspace at the moment. The episode ends by Heaven making a barrier for itself, basically shielding in advance since they know that Hell is out to get them. Now let's go into episode 3. This episode basically starts just as Charlie finds out from Emily that Penchas is in Heaven. She's very happy and she uses this information very intelligently by calling the V's over, aka Vox and Velvet, to interview her so that she can tell them about redemption and she can save the hotel's identity. Yeah, I know that the tone that I'm talking in is kind of weird, but I just have a lot of opinions on this, which I'll talk about later. Of course, Vox and Velvet just take their chance to make fun of her, basically playing mind games with her. She then kind of throws Angel under the bus because she wants to show them redemption. Like at the moment she's trying to redeem him in front of them. Of course, this goes horribly and Husk almost loses his life because Charlie makes this plan that if Angel saves Husk from almost certain death, that he will be redeemed. And of course, Vox and Velvet rig the whole thing just so that they can show her that she's full of shit. Of course, Angel is very pissed, which makes a lot of sense, and let's pour salt into the wound because Vox tells Charlie that Angel is in hell because he murdered his father, just casually dropping that, by the way. And of course, Angel leaves, also being mad at Husk, who kinda set him up just like Charlie. Another point of this episode is that we get a little bit more of Cherry. We see what she thinks about Penches and how she doesn't really know what she's feeling. She talks to this new hotel guest called Baxter. He's actually introduced into the first episode, but he doesn't do much, and now we actually learn that he used to be roommates with Penches. From him, Cherry actually learns something about Penches' past, and then she has a beautiful duet with him. At the end of the episode, she decides to join the hotel for serious right now and become a guest herself. Episode 4 is all about Alistair, and it's a great episode. I haven't seen much of him this season, but now is the time for him to shine. He quits the hotel. We learn that his deal is made with Rosie and he's under her chains. We learn about his life on Earth and how he became one of the strongest sinners so fast. And then he fights Vox because he thinks that that's the best way that he can get out of his deal with Rosie. This leads him to making a deal with Vox, at the end surrendering to him. By the end of the episode, we actually learn a bit more about their past and the fact that they were friends. Overall, just a great episode. Now let's speed things up a little bit, just like the second half of this season did. In episode 5, Charlie tries to contact Emily because she needs help. Vox is going to make an uprising very soon, and she needs them to help them stop him. On the other hand, Vaggie encourages Lucifer to go and scare Vox so that he stops the uprising, and we actually learn that Lucifer can't hurt sinners. It's basically a part of his punishment. However, he still goes, it doesn't go as planned. Vox is very calm and he doesn't really do anything about it. Then Charlie comes and the angels, because Emily and Sarah and Luther and Abel all come, and yay, we think that something good is going to happen. No, Vox just gives us a great song and he scares literally everybody because his transformation is just very good. And then we kind of just have Charlie going and attacking her dad and both Vaggie because she's mad at them for what they did, basically believing that they ruined the hotel's rep, even though Vaggie snaps back and she says that it's Charlie's fault. I will also touch upon this later. In episode 6, actually a lot of things happen. Carmilla now works with Vox. Husk also quit working at the hotel. We learn a bit about Vaggie's past as an angel, aka exorcist, and we get more insight into what's happening between the V's and their relationship. At the end, Vaggie and Charlie reconcile, also having sex at the moment. Husk gets back to his senses by angel dust, who we later learn is actually a spy for Vox, but not voluntarily. Vox has been mind controlling him for as early as episode 4 of season 1. That's how he was one step ahead of the hotel and always knew how to sabotage them. At the end, we also get Vox calling Lucifer and using Charlie's voice to get him to get to someplace. Overall, great episode, kinda jam-packed, but I really liked it. Then we have episode 7 and Lucifer gets trapped. Vox scares Heaven. Sarah talks to Penches, which enables her to trust in Emily so that she can go and let her help Charlie with the plan of redemption so that they can save the whole of hell. And yeah, this episode was just kind of a setup for episode 8, so I don't have much to say about it. It was just okay. And now finally, the finale, episode 8. What happened here? A lot, actually. Our hotel gang makes a plan to go and stop the V's, while Penches and Sarah work on this device so that they can broadcast him in hell so that the people there know that redemption is possible. Then a lot of random things just happen and we just kind of see Vox break Alistair's deal because Alistair made the deal with wordplay, which he knew that Vox will fall for. And so they have a fight. Nifty has a fight with Velvet. Husk and Cherry have a fight with Valentino. And that's kind of the main part of the story. We also have Vaggie trying to save Lucifer because Lucifer is being used for the weapon that Vox has, which he was planning to use to destroy Heaven. But yeah, after all the fighting, Vox just kind of goes ballistic and he sends the weapon into overload. Everybody just kind of gets together and they kind of sing. And wow, it's this super cute moment. They save everyone. But then we just kind of have Angel being scared to go back to the hotel since Vox used him as a spy and he's scared that he's going to be used again. So he just kind of leaves. And yeah, Alistair broke Rosie's deals, but he made another one with her, which we're not sure what it is. And the hotel now works. There are a lot of new sinners, so that's great. And yeah, the series just kind of ends on a cliffhanger because Charlie's talking to her mom on her voice messages, and she's like, yeah, you can ignore the other voice messages, and she sends her this new one where she says how she's so proud of herself for basically saving all of hell and her hotel finally working. And of course, Lilith calls her at that moment, and that's when the episode ends. So that's all I have to say about the plot of season 2. I hope that you're at least refreshed so that we can get into the characters and stuff. Alright, we're finally ready to talk about the characters, so let's get into that. So first I wanted to talk about the characters from the hotel, starting with our main character, if she can even be called that, Charlie. Charlie is frustrating to say the least. She's supposed to be the main character, and somehow she's outshined by most of the cast. I don't know why they keep doing this to her. I don't know why. She is supposed to be the main character. Why are her plot points so uninteresting? Is she better than season 1? No, I actually think that she's worse, if I'm being honest. And it's very sad because I'm not a Charlie hater. I love Charlie. I love where she comes from. I love her energy. I love her bubbliness. I love the fact that she's naive. But she's not stupid. Why was she written to be stupid for more than half of this season? It took her till episode 6 to realize that she's the problem and why the hotel is not doing well. Like, she has been shooting herself in the foot since the beginning of this season. And I just don't know what to say. One of my main points for season 2 is that I really wanted Charlie to become a character. I really wanted her to become my favorite and for me to be able to stand behind her if I want to defend her against other people's thoughts, but I can't. I genuinely can't. She is not a bad character by any means. She's just not written in an interesting way. I'm not interested enough to follow her story. I mean, now I kind of am because of the cliffhanger, but that's all they do with her all the time. They leave these interesting cliffhangers. Like in season 1, when she started using her powers finally in the battle, and I was like, oh my god, she's going to rain terror here. She did not rain terror. She really did not. She tried her best. She really did, but she didn't rain terror. Not even close. And now she didn't even use her powers in season 2. It's so sad. And yeah, unfortunately, that's the truth about her character. And now we have another character who is also very sad. And that's Vaggie, because they didn't do anything with Vaggie as well. Why did she not have a character arc? They teased us with something which could have been great. Her angel passed, but they didn't do anything about it. Like, why? Why? They have the chance to make these characters really stand out and be very interesting, and they don't do it. They don't use those chances. But I will say that Charlie and Vaggie, when they're together, they are great. Season 1 really didn't give us the full look of their relationship, but season 2 did. And it's great. I really love their dynamic. They just flow so well together. It's truly beautiful. I can also mention Lucifer here because he doesn't do a lot this season. He's just kind of used for other people's plot points and he's not very interesting. He's a great and charming character, but I didn't really find him very entertaining in any way. And that's very sad. Unfortunately, the same could be said about Nifty and Baxter. These characters, they're good characters. They really have the spark in them to shine. They just haven't been utilized well enough because there are small moments when they do have those times when they can outshine the others. They're great. Like Nifty's fight with Velvet, wow, like genuinely great. And her dynamic with Baxter is very interesting. I really love that ship. I think that they're great together. But that's kind of all they have going for them. I don't really have anything to say regarding their personality, their characters, because they really don't have one. And now I will be talking about my favorite trio, Angel, Cherry, and Husk. From the main cast, from the hotel, I think that these ones are handled the best. Cherry isn't utilized enough, but she's a great character. I really love her arc. I love her dynamic with Pinchas and also with Husk and Angel. I feel like she's just great. Overall, they could have used her way more, hopefully in season 3. Husk was also amazing. I really loved his character. I love the fact that he's there for Angel, and I do think that he's kind of turning into Vaggie in the sense that she doesn't exist without Charlie, and that's kind of him without Angel. He can hold his own for some time, but if I'm being honest, he does rely a lot on Angel for his character arc to be appealing enough, since Angel is just chef's kiss. This character has been the most interesting out of anyone from both season 1 and season 2. Yes, a lot of other characters are very interesting as well, but Angel Dust, I just really like this story arc. I know that it's kind of bitter, it's kind of sad, depressing. He tangles a lot of topics which are just not good, and not a lot of people can talk about them, but I really like that we have one of these serious characters, because I don't feel that with anyone else. And with the last person from the hotel, I will talk about Alistair. Now, Alistair was kind of okay for the most of the season, and then he started popping off. I liked it, I guess. He didn't have much of a presence, but all of his scenes were amazing. We did see his relationship with Rosie, how it started, how it's going. I really liked his human design. It makes a lot of sense for him. Not just the design, but the way he acted when he was alive. I can truly see that. I can envision him going from that type of a person to the sinner that he is in hell. And it was very interesting. Not to mention his dynamic with Vox is just amazing. I do genuinely ship those two, because I feel like they have such opposing traits, but in the most positive way possible. When both of them are on screen, I always listen with both my ears and I watch with both my eyes, because I'm just so invested, so interested, and I love all their jabs, not to mention their fights are genuinely the best, and we can really see that in the animation and art. And from here, I can actually start talking about Vox, because I can use this as a transition. Now, out of the V's, we know that Vox is actually the one who is most utilized this season. This is kind of his season, and he was great. I do have to say that as a villain, I think that he did a great job. He was the best that he could have been, and I love that they focused on him. We see him in his human arc, we see him in his hell arc, just climbing up the ladder, starting to be more and more powerful. I don't know if he was fully utilized. I don't think that he was bad. He was definitely great, but they could have done something a bit more with him. I think that he could have been just a bit more cruel. I was expecting a bit more sadness, a bit more bloodshed and stuff, but he was kind of tame until the end. I loved him basically having a breakdown and just doing whatever the fuck he wants. It was such an interesting part of the season, and it was very nice, very nice. And I loved Fox because of his relationship with the other V's. Now, Valentino and Velvet by themselves were great. They weren't outstanding. They were just very interesting characters, and they were there to make Vox seem even more interesting. But their dynamic, the trio, was just wow. I loved when they were all on screen. They looked like such a powerful trio, especially by the beginning. And I loved seeing how this trio basically starts eroding. We see them go from being this whole club, this gang, this group, from them just starting to break up, and it was truly amazing watching that. I do feel like Valentino and Velvet's friendship is just top tier. I love the way they interact with each other, and they always have their back. And I didn't really see much between Velvet and Vox, I have to say. I wish they had more of that, but I did see a lot of Valentino and Vox, and I love that. I love that Valentino was so jealous of Alistair, and it makes a lot of sense because Vox is a bitch for leaving Valentino like that, even though Valentino is also a bitch. But it's okay. It's okay. It was great. I loved their dynamic. It was interesting. It was fun. So I think that they did great with that. Now we have Heaven. And first of all, I have to say, Penja's just great. I don't have a lot to comment on him. I don't think that he had a specific character arc this season, but I just love him as a character as he is, which is just the nature of him, I guess. He's just a very charming character. I really wanted to talk about Sarah. I loved Sarah this season. I loved that she is in this conflict with herself, and it's so interesting, her views, the way they shift, the way she becomes a good character. I think that her character arc was best handled. I hated Sarah in season 1, and I hated Sarah as season 2 started, but I started liking her a lot, and now I love her. I love her character. I think that her songs are also amazing. She's great, but I'll talk about that later. And wow, honestly, they really did redeem her. Emily also had a redemption, but it came way too late. Episode 8 was way too late for her to become an interesting character, and they should have done that way sooner. The same could be said about Abel, because Abel was not a character. He became a character in episode 8, and I don't have anything more to say about him because I think that he was just very useless. The same could be said about Lilith, except she just doesn't become a character ever. And now the thing that I'm most sad about, and the person who is literally on the drawing, Lute. Lute had so much potential. Her song, Gravity, which I will talk about later, was so good. They didn't even make any of that true. Like, she literally did nothing this season. After episode 2, she was so uninteresting, so boring. They didn't do anything with her. I felt like somebody was edging me because there are a lot of moments when she could have done something, but she was just standing there and not doing anything. She was just being very confident in some random moments and then proceeds to do nothing about it. I really didn't like that. And no, I didn't like the fact that Abel just told her to like go away. She was like, oh, okay. That makes no sense. I'm sorry. We then had the Overlords. We didn't get a lot of them. And I don't know, they weren't really interesting. Carmilla was okay. The other ones were very forgettable. Rosie was also fine. I thought that she would have a bigger role, but that wasn't the truth, unfortunately. And I do have to say, Katie Killjoy was very interesting this season. Not interesting, but funny. I really liked her scenes. I think that she was great. Way better than in season 1, so I think that she did redeem herself. Overall, I am kind of sad with a lot of these characters because their characters weren't bad, actually. They were great till episode 6, and after that, it kind of just went down. I think that it was way too rushed. I will talk about that in a bit, but yeah, kind of disappointing, honestly. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the music and the visuals of the series, and I'll start with the visuals. Actually, I really liked how this season looked. From the art to the animation, I think that it was top tier. This is the best that Hazbin Hotel has ever looked. I really do hope that season 3 keeps up the same animation quality standards, because some shots in this show are just truly amazing, mesmerizing, beautiful, perfect. I just don't have any more words to explain it. You just have to see it for yourself and see just how good the animation has become and how it has evolved since season 1, because it truly is better in a lot of ways. And I really respect the animators for all of that. I know that the budget for season 2 was bigger, and we can definitely see that when it comes to the music. Now, to be honest, before I start talking about the music, I do plan on making a separate video just ranking all of the Hazbin Hotel songs from season 1 and season 2, because I'm not going to do that here. Right now, I'm just going to talk about the songs, and yes, I will talk about most of them because I love this discography, this album that they have made. It's just so good. All of the songs are super catchy. All of the songs are super great. Okay, I'm kind of lying. There's only one that I really don't like because I feel like it's very lazy and uninteresting. But I do love most of the songs, and I do think that these songs are somehow even better than season 1. Season 1's songs were a standout because even though the series wasn't as good, the show, just like I said, the plot, the pacing, somehow the songs were so good that they carried the whole thing. And every time when a song started, you just got into it. You got into the moment, you got into the character. It's just truly a different type of reliving through these moments when you hear the character starting to sing. Because one thing that I've seen with Hazbin Hotel, which I think that it's one of its biggest problems, is that the characters are so interesting, but they're interesting because of the music. Because when you hear them in a song, you can genuinely hear what they think, what they have to see. You get the most of them, their character, their personality at 100%, which is something that you don't get in the writing, which is super sad. Because why? Why, when these songs show that you can do so much with the characters? I have to say, Velvet's voice, wow, that's something that I truly loved through all of the songs. I will say, firstly, Gravity was my favorite. I was kind of basic, not gonna lie. I'm still pretty basic because I love Easy, I love Losing Streak, I love Long in a Bottle. I think that the last song, Hear My Hope, was pretty cute. I think that it was great. All the other songs are also great. One thing that actually surprised me is that I loved Sarah's Confession. I didn't think that I would love it. And it's so weird because it's another reason why I loved Sarah so much this season. She was just great, and this song is one of the reasons why she was great. Because other people, like Lute, have gravity, yes, but she doesn't do anything with it. Gravity is her peak, and she never reaches it again. But for some reason, every time when she appears on screen, we get this like gravity melody in the background, and I'm like, no, you didn't do anything. What do you mean gravity in the background? No, like, it's such a shame because it's honestly a letdown. It's a letdown for the song because the song was so good, and then you get hit with that. The other songs were pretty nice. I do have to say, there was a lot of Vox when it comes to most of these songs, which is very valid. I would say that he was kind of the main character of this season, which makes sense why he would be in most of the songs. I did like them though. I was pleasantly surprised by a lot of the songs. Okay, so we finally made it. We're into the review and the ranking. Now, Hazbin Hotel Season 2 did not redeem itself. It was supposed to. It was so close to redeeming itself, and it didn't. I was voting so much for this season to make a change, for it to finally put Hazbin Hotel on the map as this great show, because it had so much potential, so great characters, great world building, everything, but it didn't manage. It wasn't bad by any means, and I do believe that from episode 1 to 6, the show was a solid 8.5 out of 10. That is a point and a half better than season 1 as a whole. And I think that I was going for a 9. It was that good. It was genuinely that good. And the pacing of the episodes from 1 to 4 was also great. We did rack up a bit of speed with 5 and 6, but I was like, okay. But then 7 and 8 came, and I genuinely did not expect the season to go in that way. And it's not that it was bad. It was just a bit too generic. I didn't think that episode 7 was going to be a setup episode, because episode 6 was a setup episode. It was setting us up for episode 7 and 8. Why was 7 also a setup? Like, I genuinely think that it would have been just better if they made the finale, aka the last episode, just last its whole duration during 7 and 8, because then we would have so much more time. They could have focused more on the plot points. They could have made a more serious, well-structured story, but they didn't. they had episode 7, and that was a pointless episode. We didn't learn anything. There was nothing interesting about it. And as I said, the other episodes were pretty great. I do think that this season did redeem itself in some quantities. The music, even better than before. The art and the visuals, the animation itself, just wow. As I said, some of the characters were generally just very interesting. There's so much to love about this season, but I feel like it wasn't handled as well. Unfortunately, it's the same problem as the first season, where they had so much potential. They could do so much more with it. This could have been definitely a 10 out of 10, but it wasn't. It's an 8 out of 10, maybe even an 8.5, and that's not a bad rating by any means. I feel like the worst thing about Hazbin Hotel is that you know that it can be a 10 out of 10. And I don't want people saying that the pilot is a 10 out of 10, because that's not the truth. The pilot is just a great setup episode. Like, the pilot in and of itself is great. It's definitely an 8, far from a 10. Far from a 10. We have to be real. The pilot was just so good at setting up that we were expecting the things that came out of it to be a 10, but they weren't a 10. They were a 7. Season 1 was a 7, and that's why we got disappointed, because the pilot excited us for something better than that, something which we didn't get. But to be real, we did get that in season 2. I think that we did get the payoff, and I do hope that it just goes up from here. I believe that Vivzy Pop and all the other writers, all the other directors can pull this thing together. They can make it great again, and I truly believe that there is hope for this franchise, for this series. It's going to get better. Overall, this season, as I said, a solid 8.5. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I want to hear your thoughts about it. I want to hear your thoughts about characters and their character arcs, and even the music, the art, everything. There's so much to dissect about this series, and I'm sad that I have to cram this into one video for now, but I do plan on making more videos so that we can actually just make this whole thing a reality. We have to appreciate all the good and the bad, and that's it. I kind of went off on a tangent. I might be a bit drunk, but let's not talk about that. Hope you have a nice night. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. It will help out my channel a lot. I would love to see all of your opinions, all of your views on the series in the comments below, and I will get to answering them as soon as I can. Bye!